Stas 23 here. In today's knife therapy, we have the Null Knives Grace, and this one's going to be a pre-order that will go live on February 3rd, 2023 at 8 p.m. EST or 5 p.m. PST. Now, this is a premium knife, so it's going to come in with a premium price tag. This is a design collaboration between Null Knives and Mr. Corbin SteelWRX. I first learned about him when my buddy Copper Dice bought one of his fixed blades. Very, tactical style, aggressive Tantos. And if that's your thing, this is pretty sweet. It's definitely different. Tantos aren't usually my thing, but I can definitely appreciate this one, and I've grown to like this one the more and more I've carried it. He has two options for payments. You can either do a full payment or you can do a deposit that is 60% of the full amount. So that's, something nice, because I know some people hate having to put all the money up front, but they got to have a way to fund these projects unless they do Kickstarters, and I'd much rather it like this. So let's get some quick specs out of the way. You have a total length of 7.2 inches, so it's a medium-sized knife. You have a blade length of 3 inches, a grip area from here to here of 3.36, or if you want to go all the way to the back, all the way to here is 3.7 inches. So it's going to fit your medium-sized hands really nicely. Large hands may be a little cramped for you. Scale thickness is coming in at 0.49, and the closed width in the pocket from here to here is 1.28 inches. Blade stock thickness is 0.125. And the behind the edge thickness on this particular one is around 19 to 20 thousandths. And that's about 19 thousandths on this hollow ground portion and about 20 thousandths on the Tanto flat ground portion. The Grace comes in 6 different configurations. The one you see here with the belt satin blade, bead blasted titanium scales with no inlay. You have black PVD coated pivot. You have zirconium thumb studs and back spacer and pocket clip on this one. This one right here is going to run you $375. They will also have a static washed, which kind of looks like a dark stone washed frame with a stone washed blade and static washed titanium hardware. You can also get one with a green canvas micarta inlay, belt satin blade, satin tie hardware. And you can get one with the black micarta inlay, belt satin blade, black PVD tie, and hardware as well. Black PVD hardware, my bad. There's a couple of special ones. You have a black camo carbon inlay one with a belt satin blade with the zirc clip, spacer, and thumb studs. And they also have a very limited run with the purple haze fat carbon with either a black PVD M390 blade or the Borkman's Twist Damasteel. That looks very, very nice. Now, these will be limited to 50 units. 30 of those will be in the M390 and 20 of them will be in the Damasteel. So if that's the one you want, you better jump on it pretty quick. We usually sell the quickest. So let's take a close look at this blade. You have a very wicked looking Tanto. There are a few changes to the current, this is a prototype. There's going to be a few changes to the full production. This right here, the Tanto right now is completely straight. As you can see there, there's going to be just a little bit of belly to it. Also, he's going to be extending this straight edge portion. I think it was, about 2 millimeters. So give you a little bit more cutting edge, make it a better EDC tool if that's what you're using it for. I like the deep hollow grind on here, and the fact that the Tanto is not, so thick that it can't be used. You have a very, very aggressive point there. Very wicked right there. I love that nice top swedge. It does so well with the lighting. When the light bounces off each facet, it looks so very nice. The blade steel is M390, and I like how he does this. In the open position, you don't see anything. It's a completely sterile blade, but And this halfway marker, you see the blade steel, and I like that font, which is Bowler M390. The OEM on these is Riot, and we know they do some of the best manufacturing in the overseas market. Your Zerk thumb studs have like a dark blasted look to them. They're not polished Zerk or anything. I love that titanium cylinder pivot. That looks really, really cool. Another change that I saw that he's doing is he's going to extend this row of jimping right here. It looks like to right after the thumb stud, so it's going to come out to about right there, so maybe 3 or 4 more jimps, which I think is a good idea because, you know, your average thumb is going to land to the end of that if you're going to get that jimping. And the jimping is that nice fine cut jimping. Riot knows how to do that very, very well, and it does a great job of grabbing that thumb when it needs to. It's not going to rip you up. Also, when I had first looked at this, I was like, oh, it's not going to be good for much. But I was wrong. Being that you have such a long flat portion right there, doing, you know, pushing down cuts, especially once he has that little bit of belly to it, you can do, you know, your more sawing motion cuts. And that's going to be a useful area right there. Plus, you have that needle point right there. If you need to do a drag cut through something, it's going to really pierce through it very easily if you want to pierce into that bag of potato chips or that bag of sand, whatever. You have a very nice sharpening choil there. It's going to give you tons of sharpening life before it starts to widen up, because you're going to better go to about right there before it starts to widen up at all in the back. And I think they're going to be pulling that back just a little bit. The plunge might be going back a little bit just to extend that edge a little bit more. All good stuff. Now, why don't we do some cutting with this and see how well this blade shape performs. Now, first thing I noticed is the blade was ridiculously sharp. I did have to be mindful of that choil because it is a little large, and I think when they make those little changes they are with the blade, might shorten that up a little bit, so it might not be as bad, but definitely once you get used to it, I didn't really have any problems. I was just trying to stay in the back right there, blasting through this cardboard, no problem whatsoever. I didn't expect it to have any troubles with the cardboard, and I was definitely right. Now we're going to test the ergos on this pine 2x4 and also see how well that edge wants to bite. And right away, it's able to make the fine curls no problem whatsoever. I started increasing the pressure more and more, and that handle is very comfortable. No hot spots to speak of, and that blade wanted to bite deep into that wood. I'm pushing pretty hard on all these cuts. No problem at all. Didn't expect it to be this nice doing this type of work. This is where I was kind of surprised. Usually I hate doing this test and most, you know, tests with a Tanto, but most Tantos are much shorter. This one has a very long front portion to it, so you're able to just push straight down. I'm doing push cuts, and as you can see, it's blasting through this rope, no problem whatsoever, because it was very sharp. And it's not a super thick Tanto, so it's a great EDC option. Especially once they put that belly up there in the front, man, this could be awesome. Ended up making 36 cuts before I ran out of rope, and I definitely could have done more. I'm excited to see how it does in the next test. Doing these drag cuts like this, this knife's going to excel because you have a razor tip on this. Blast through it, and once again, that long Tanto portion, excellent for this type of stuff. Easy to do hold cuts like that, and all these on the flat cutting surface, I'm using minimal pressure. Blast through the tubing, no problem. And you could also, you know, pierce it with that front tip and pull down, or use a secondary point. So this is definitely a way more versatile Tanto. If I were going to buy me one, this is the type I would want, because you do have a little bit extra strength for the tip, and it's long enough to where you can get a good bit of force down into what you're cutting. And as you can see right here, absolute no edge has been lost yet. It is blasting through the denim better than any knife I've tested in a while. And now we're just gonna show how great that needle point is for like doing detail work. It literally felt like nothing was in front of me when I was cutting it. Not much pressure, and you can get so precise with that very fine point because it's not super thick like most Tantos. It's more like we could call this an EDC Tanto. This one makes a lot more sense, and I'm very glad I got the opportunity to do this testing because it kind of changed my mind on this design. I wasn't super thrilled because I'm not a big Tanto fan, and you know, premium knife, you really have to love it. So after doing this, I was definitely more of a fan of this blade shape. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed that cutting footage. This thing performed so much better than I expected. I mean, look at this. Edge is still screaming sharp. This edge came redunculous, especially that Tanto area. Wow. Very, very nice. Look at that. Whoop. Super sharp. Awesome. Now let's close it up and take a look at the action. This is a thumb stud deployer. And of course, it's got that beautiful riyadh action on bearings. Nice and snappy, good dial detent. Now, one other thing that he said that he was going to be addressing is the detent ball ramp. Right now, let's see, it has one, but let me see where it comes off at. Right, it's coming off about right there, and I think he's going to make it to where it comes off about right there. Now, I never had a problem with it, you know, unlocking it. I usually come, you know, either down on my fingernail or, you know, just tap it like that. So I guess, yeah, right now it's like that. So that's good. He's going to make that even better because you literally don't really feel it at all unless you get that, you know, little slight hump. You can easily reverse flick it. You have enough length on those thumb studs. They sit right at the line. He's also going to be giving us a little bit more lock bar access. The overall size will be increased. Here's a picture of what he showed. So they're going to make this portion come out further. And I mean, I find it comfortable as is. So, you know, a little bit more is going to make it that more comfortable. When I just checked my notes, it says that the detent ball ramp will be shortened slightly, so you'll have quicker disengagement. So right now, it's staying on the detent ball ramp, I guess, a little too long, causing a little bit of kickback sometimes. Nothing that noticeable. It has that very hydraulic, silky, smooth, controlled drop because this is a lighter blade. There's a lot of material missing from it, you know. So I think it's only going to break in more and more the more and more you use it. Take a look at these scales. Like I said, these are the finely bead blasted scales. Nice and contoured, softened edges. This thing is very, very comfortable in my medium-sized hands. I usually don't like grip where you're kind of forced, but luckily my two fingers fit in both slots perfectly and very, very comfortably. Being that your clip is 3D contoured as well, it fits nicely in my hand. I can feel it, but it wasn't uncomfortable for any of the cutting I did. Now, I didn't bear down on this a whole lot. They also made sure the clip is sitting on top of this side, not on the lock side. So it's not going to add pressure to the lock bar. You have a nice floating zirconium backspacer. Very nicely done. I love seeing that, especially in a production knife, something you usually see in the custom realm. You have a blind screwed milled titanium clip. Now, it is tip upright, hand carry only. Let's check it out in the pocket real quick. Now, I must say they did a great job on this zirconium clip because I've had a bad experience with zirconium because it's not a very springy material. But being that it's a longer clip and they thinned it out just right in there. It has decent spring to it. Um, it it can be a pain sometimes to get in, just because it is a little bit stiffer than titanium, but once you get it past the lip, it's fine. That's what you have sticking out of the pocket. So it's definitely not deep carry, but you do have something to grab a hold to. Something else that I forgot to mention, I don't know if you noticed, but how clean it looks on this side, because you have your pivot and that's it on hardware for the show scale. So they have it going through this side, and I think it looks really, really nice. I definitely could have done without the lanyard, but it is a more medium to smaller size knife, so, I understand that. I think it would have just looked really, really clean without it, but that also ties in that touch of color there. Got those nice little milled grooves for added aesthetics. And like I said, those inlaid ones look so good in my opinion. The lockup on this thing is a bank vault. No play side to side, up or down. And it seems to have pretty good geometry. It's not super steep on that slope there. And the lockup on this one, I would say, is around 30%. All the hardware on the knife is Torx T8. Excellent job. You won't have to change your drivers at all. You do have a hardened lock bar insert in there, stainless steel insert. They did a good job making it nice and flush there. Nice texturing on that lock bar right there. They have a nice chamfer on both sides, and like I said, he's going to extend that down some, make it even easier to disengage. I love how easy, it's not easy, but I love the clean break it has when you're opening this knife. Very, very nice. They did a good job of weight relieving in here. You have a ton of weight relieving. You have a lot on the lock side, which you don't always see that as much. So nice job on the lock side, and check out on the show side scale. Very, very nicely done, especially since zirconium is a heavier material. I was kind of worried. Let's check it out on the scale and see what it weighs. First off, in grams, 113.9 grams or 4.01 ounces. So that the zirconium still, playing a factor here. However, one nice thing, if you're trying to save a little bit of weight, they do have ones with titanium instead of zirconium. So, I don't find it to be a big deal at all. And the weight is perfectly acceptable for me. I do not find that to be heavy at all. Let's get some quick size comparisons. First, we had the Null knives, Raiden. That was his first design. And the Southern Grind Spider Monkey. The Raiden's a little bit longer in overall length. The Southern Grind is a very good size representation as far as overall length. I'd say the Grace feels better in hand a little bit than the Spider Monkey. Next up, we have the Hogue Ritter RSK and the Mini RSK. It's right in the middle of those two. Next, we have the Ontario Rat Model 1 and 2, right in the middle of those as well. Lastly, we have the Hinder XM18 3-inch and the Spyderco Para 3. It's really close to the 3-inch Hinder. It's a little bit bigger than the Hinder, and it's a little bit bigger than the Para 3 as well. All right, now for my nitpicks and complaints, I really don't have any because he's fixing everything that I would have complained about. The only thing, and this is just my personal opinion, I'm not a big Tanto fan. So in my opinion, if you're going to spend this kind of money on this kind of premium knife, you really, really need to love it. I really love the Raiden, and I really, really love the Voodoo. Those two are more my style. And, unfortunately, this one's not. And I can't afford it at the moment anyway. So, a different blade shape, I'd be all over it. Even though I do think it's a very attractive blade shape, it's just not one that would work good in my EDC rolls. If as a good self-defense knife, yeah, that would be a wicked chip bag opener. And, someone who, uses Tantos a lot and they work great for them, then, this is your knife. I think there's a lot of awesome options, and I'm I'm excited to hear what y'all think, who's all getting in on the pre-order. I will have links down in the description to the pre-order. Now, like I said, it does not go live because it never fails. Somebody says, oh, it's all sold out. It does not go live till February 3rd, 2023 at 8 p.m. EST or 5 p.m. PST. Put it on your calendar if you want to get one so you don't forget. I know I forget all the time. And yeah, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. I hope everybody's having an absolute amazing day. And I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.